Silent letters. Bah, they've got to be one of the most frustrating parts of learning English, right? They seem to pop up everywhere, but why? Well, in this explainer, we're going to demystify the rules so you can finally speak with way more confidence.
Oh, yeah, that quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? As an English learner, you see a letter, you expect to say it, and then nothing. It can feel like the language is literally designed to trip you up.
And look, it's not just you. This isn't some rare thing. Get this, a whopping 60% of English words have a silent letter. Yeah, more than half. So if you've been pulling your hair out over this, you're in good company. This is a huge, huge part of the language.
But, and this is the good news, it's not total chaos. It might feel like it, but it's not. See, a lot of these silent letters are kind of like linguistic fossils. English pronunciation changed a lot over the centuries, but the spelling, not so much. Plus, we borrowed a ton of words from other languages, like French. So long story short, while it seems random, there are patterns, there are rules, and once you know them, everything gets so much easier.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with the basics, A, B, and C. Then we'll dig into some of the most common culprits, D, E, and G. After that, we'll tackle the tricky pairs like H, K, and L, and we'll wrap it all up with a key takeaway to help your pronunciation.
Okay, let's do this. First up, A, B, and C.
So let's start with the letter A. Now, a really common place you'll find a silent A is in adverbs that end with -ly. The rule here is super simple. You just pretend that A isn't even there.
Let's look at these examples. We don't say romantically, right? No, we say romantically. Hear that? I'm just hopping right over that A. It's the same thing for musically and logically. Go on, try saying them out loud with me. Romantically, musically, logically. See? That A just, poof, it's gone. All right, next is B, and I've got two awesome rules for you here. And seriously, these are lifesavers. Rule number 1, B is always silent after the letter M. Always. And rule number 2, it's usually silent right before the letter T.
Let's put that into practice. So after an M, you've got words like climb, crumb, thumb, and plumber. Think about how you say them. Your mouth doesn't actually make that buh sound at the end. It's thumb, not thumb-buh. And for the T rule, we've got det, doubt, and subtle. Again, no B sound, it just jumps straight from the vowel to the T.
Okay, let's move on to C. This one can be a little sneaky. The big rule to remember is that C often goes silent when it comes right after an S. That SC combo is a classic trap. And you can see it perfectly right here. Take the word muscle. We don't say muscle, right? We say muscle. Same deal with scissors, fascinate, and scene. In every single one, the C just disappears and lets the S do all the work. All right, you're doing great. Let's move on to our next group, D, E, and G. And trust me, these are some of the most common silent letters you're going to bump into in everyday English. The silent D. This is a classic. It shows up in so many common words, you probably use them all the time without even thinking about it. I mean, take Wednesday. Who actually pronounces that first D? Nobody. It's Wednesday. Same goes for handsome and sandwich. We say handsome and sandwich. The D just completely vanishes. Okay, here's a special little quirk with the letter D. When you see D and G side by side, they team up to make a soft J sound, just like the letter J. So in words like edge, knowledge, and bridge, the D isn't really pronounced on its own. It's just there to help make that final J sound. And now for the famous magic E. This rule is a big one, for sure. So here's the trick. When you stick a silent E on the end of a short word, it magically changes the vowel sounds before it. So hop becomes hope, see? Sit becomes sight, and hid turns into hide. That silent E basically tells the vowel to say its own name, turning that short sound into a long one. Next up, let's tackle G. There are two main patterns you need to know. First, G is almost always silent when it's right before an N. And second, that GH combo, yeah, that's often silent too, especially when it follows a vowel. So for that silent G before an N, think of words like sign, design, or foreign. You don't hear the G at all, do you? And for the silent GH, you've got words like though, high, light, and daughter.
In all of those, the GH is just there for looks, completely silent.
Okay, we're in the home stretch. Let's get into our final set of rules, this time focusing on H, K, and L. These guys love to go silent when they're paired up with other letters. So, the silent H. When does this happen? Well, there are pretty much three main scenarios. First, it's often silent after a W. Think what, when, why. Second, it's sometimes silent right at the beginning of a word, like an hour or honest. And finally, you'll see it go silent after a C, G, or R in words like choir, ghost, and rhythm.
All right, I'm about to give you a really easy one. This is a rule you can absolutely count on every single time. The letter K is always silent when it comes before an N at the start of a word. No exceptions, ever. And I bet you know this one already, even if you didn't know the rule. Think about it. Knife, know, knee, knock, knowledge. You never, ever pronounce that K. It's one of the most reliable rules in English. And last but not least, let's talk about the silent L. I kind of like to call this the cheat rule because it honestly just makes pronouncing things way easier. Basically, the L often goes silent after the vowels A, O, and U. Why? Well, frankly, trying to pronounce it would be a real tongue twister. Just look at this list. We've got could, should, walk, talk, half, calm, even salmon. Yep, that's right. In every single one of these, we just drop the L sound completely. It just makes the word flow so much more smoothly.
Phew, okay, we've covered a ton of ground today. So let's put it all together and talk about the biggest takeaway from all of this.
Here's the most crucial thing to remember. All this stuff that seems like frustrating, random chaos, it actually has a system. There are patterns. Silent letters aren't just there to mess with you. They follow rules. And once you start to see those patterns, you can stop guessing and start speaking with some real confidence.
Look, learning these rules is definitely a journey, and what we did today was just the first step. But it's a really big one. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Which one of these silent letter rules was the biggest surprise to you? Thanks for sticking with me.